We're getting you all the live non-stop updates coming in on the Prime Minister's South focus. He's currently in Coimbatore, part of a mega roadshow that's going to be followed up by a rally as well. In a district that the BJP is counting on doing well in the upcoming elections. What you see on your screens right now are images of the Prime Minister's mega South show. And this started off 2 days ago. Over the next 2 days as well, he's going to be focusing completely on the South. With every single day, the Prime Minister visiting 2 to 3 different districts. Started off, of course, on 15th, goes up till tomorrow when the Prime Minister again will be visiting Salem in Tamil Nadu as well. Now, every single day, he's been ensuring that he visits 2 to 3 districts in different parts of the South. So it's not reserved to one state alone. He's been in Tamil Nadu, in Telangana, Andhra Pradesh, Kerala and Karnataka. And it's very, very clear as to exactly how much the BJP is really counting on making inroads in the South in these elections. But let's talk about Tamil Nadu right now as we beam these live images of the roadshow that's underway in Coimbatore. I want to bring in on this broadcast political analyst Narayanan Lakshman as well. Narayanan Lakshman, good evening. What do you think is the significance of the Prime Minister's roadshow right now in Coimbatore? For the last many months, while the Prime Minister has made it a point to focus on the South, a large part of that focus has been on Tamil Nadu. And perhaps West Tamil Nadu is a region that the BJP is really counting on this time.
Absolutely, Akshita. I think you cannot overstate the importance of Tamil Nadu in this election. You know, there are 39 Lok Sabha seats up for grabs, and it could really be, a make or break situation in terms of the total tally that the BJP manages to get. Obviously, at a national level, they're projected to win along with their allies. But, the South has been a tough climb for them, and among the toughest, I would say, are Tamil Nadu, maybe Kerala as well. So I think the Prime Minister is personally investing in doing his best here. Of course, that is his style of politics. It is almost like a presidential style where, it's a referendum on his own personality, his policies, his government's policies. But at the same time, I think there's a very clear recognition that some heavy lifting needs to be done in Tamil Nadu in order to maximize the number of seats that they get out of those 39. Obviously, a strong pushback will be coming from the DMK.
Do you see it translating to seats, though? Because, most opinion polls right now, Narayan, do project that the BJP will better their vote share. For it to actually translate to seats will have to be 20% plus. Do you see that actually happening in places like Coimbatore?
Well, it's very hard, Akshita, because I think, there are multiple factors. One is there is a feeling of the tensions between central and state government. Obviously, the DMK has spoken a lot about, we need to get a share of resources. We are not getting as much as the North. We are contributing more in terms of state GDP to the overall country's income. We should be getting more, all of that. Then there's also the longer term history of the Dravidian movement and the fact that, many people, the older generations at least, is still, subscribe to a sense of Tamil Nadu being a very exceptional and unique state. But the question is, the young people are now, a younger generation of voters is also there. They may not so much remember what happened in 1967 when the Congress was defeated by the DMK. And, the Dravidian parties then went on to rule the state for the next 50 years between the DMK and ADMK. So that doesn't really echo maybe with the younger generation. So therein, I think Prime Minister Modi and the rest of the BJP trying to portray a positive image of what their vision for the country is, of growth, of opportunities, and, generally that India will be prosperous. The Achedin tag, which they talk about under Prime Minister Modi's government.
The BJP, and this is perhaps one of the biggest challenges that they faced in Tamil Nadu, which is that they're perceived as a North Indian party. The Prime Minister has been focusing on changing that. 6 visits in this year alone to Tamil Nadu. The Prime Minister has been focusing on kind of changing that narrative, whether it's about him talking about how he wished he knew Tamil, about starting off this initiative where, there's an AI Tamil constantly translating his speech. And then, of course, there is all of this talk that he always gives in his speech about connecting the North to the South and all of that. Do you think that's really making any sort of impact on ground, that the BJP is seen now as a regional player in regional politics of Tamil Nadu?
No, actually, I think it would be a stretch to say that they are seen as a regional player because let's not forget, and this is also your earlier very pertinent question about the regions within Tamil Nadu, like the West and South. Tamil Nadu is still very much a state under the Dravidian model, which is election outcomes are determined by caste politics, whether we agree with it or like it or not. And for example, there'll be a 1-year stronghold towards the north. There'll be Tevars down south. In some areas, Dalits are themselves strong. You have the Dalit Panthers and other Dalit parties. And of course, Gaundars and others, the ADMK is a stronghold as well in different, towards the east and the north. And Chennai is a big constituency. So I think the Prime Minister is certainly aware, and the BJP as a party is aware of these caste calculations and equations. But their equation, their rather propaganda is entirely different, right? It is not really based on caste. It is more about, to an extent, it's about religion. To an extent, it's about growth and a different view of India, which is not about regional politics. But I think that hasn't gained an echo here yet, because let's face it, they're starting from scratch. They're near zero. So even in the state assembly elections, they've just managed to scrape a few seats. But the advantage of being in that position of the underdog party is that every small gain that you make is seen as being the effect of a much bigger footprint on Tamil society, from 0 to go to 5 seats or something, or a single-digit percentage of the vote share is actually quite huge, because it tells you the work they've been doing at the village level in terms of promoting Hindu festivals, temple worship, and all of those things. And of course, Prime Minister Modi's own personality and how he is good for the governance of this country. That's their message. So that is obviously gaining some traction, and that's what they're banking on. If I may, Akshita, I'll also add that the other side of it is their alliance with the AIADMK, which is something of a little more of a precarious and difficult story, because there were originally talks and plans and they had come together, and then there were some frictions in terms of comments made by the BJP functionaries about CN Anadre. That alliance basically could not hold. But I think being on the ground here, what we're hearing is there is a very decent chance of a post-poll tie-up. The question really will be, will it be enough to really knock off the numbers of the DMK in terms of the number of seats they get, and will it add a substantial amount to the tally in the Lok Sabha? So we'll have to wait and see about those factors.